What if the greatest threat to peace was not weapons, not ideology, not even power-hungry leaders, but money itself? For centuries, the currencies we trusted have quietly fueled every conflict, every empire, every collapse. Wars are not only fought with guns, they are fought with printing presses. Armies march because governments fund them, and governments fund them with money they can create out of thin air. But imagine a world where money could not be weaponized. Imagine a currency beyond borders, beyond politics, beyond manipulation. A currency that no empire could control and no ruler could corrupt. That is the promise of Bitcoin. And if the world has the courage to embrace it, Bitcoin could become more than just an asset. It could become the foundation of peace. Fiat's bloody history, how paper funds war. To understand why Bitcoin matters, we need to face the brutal truth about fiat money, the dollars, euros, pounds, and yen we use today. These currencies are not neutral. They are tools of power, tools of control, and tools of war. Look back through history, and the pattern is clear. World War I drained treasuries so quickly that governments abandoned gold-backed money and printed paper instead. That printing didn't just fund the war, it inflated economies, wrecked savings, and set the stage for the chaos that followed. In World War II, again, nations financed their battles not with gold, but with promises, bonds, and printed notes. Citizens paid the hidden price in the form of inflation and shortages. Governments grew addicted to this tool, the ability to make war affordable by shifting its cost into the future. The Cold War, the Vietnam War, the endless conflicts of the modern era, none of them would have been possible without fiat. The United States printed billions to fund proxy wars. Other nations borrowed and inflated their way into arms races. The result? Decades of death, destruction, and debt. Here's the ugly truth. As long as money can be created without limit, war can be financed without limit. Fiat makes war cheap for rulers, but devastating for the people who live under it. And the cycle continues today. Governments worldwide rack up debt in the trillions, spending not from wealth they actually hold, but from money they conjure out of thin air. The result is the same as it was 100 years ago: inflation, inequality, and instability. Bitcoin's apolitical neutrality, money beyond borders. This is where Bitcoin changes the story. Unlike fiat, Bitcoin is not political. It is not tied to any nation, ideology, or military. It does not serve kings or presidents, and it cannot be printed by central banks. Bitcoin is mathematics. Bitcoin is code. And because it is decentralized, no single government can control it. That makes it the first truly neutral form of money in human history. Think about what this means in practice. If one country dominates the world's reserve currency, as the United States does with the dollar, that currency becomes a weapon. Nations can be sanctioned, economies can be crushed, entire populations can be punished, not through bombs, but through the banking system. But Bitcoin does not play politics. It does not care about borders. It does not discriminate between allies and enemies. A farmer in Kenya, a shopkeeper in Brazil, a banker in New York, a student in Japan, they all stand on equal ground when they use Bitcoin. That equality is revolutionary. For centuries, money has been used to divide. Bitcoin offers the possibility of money as a bridge. In a world where nations fight for financial dominance, Bitcoin offers something unheard of: a currency that belongs to everyone and to no one at the same time. The long-term vision: Bitcoin as a global reserve. Skeptics say Bitcoin is too volatile, too experimental, too strange to ever serve as a reserve currency. But every transformative technology begins that way. Think about the internet in the 1990s. It would never replace newspapers, television, or letters. Today, it underpins everything from commerce to communication. Bitcoin's trajectory is no different. First ignored, then mocked, then resisted, and eventually, inevitably, adopted. The vision is not that Bitcoin replaces every local currency overnight. People will still use national money for day-to-day transactions. But at the highest level, between banks, between nations, between economies, Bitcoin can become the settlement layer, the neutral backbone of trade. Imagine this. Instead of countries hoarding US dollars, vulnerable to inflation and political manipulation, they hold Bitcoin. Instead of global trade being hostage to one nation's currency, it flows through a medium no one can weaponize. Wars over currency dominance, petrodollars, currency devaluations, sanctions become meaningless. With Bitcoin, there is no empire at the center. There is only a shared system, governed not by politics, but by mathematics. And here lies the philosophical heart of it. Bitcoin is not about replacing money, it is about replacing power. It dismantles the monopoly of currency from states and places it into the hands of humanity itself. Yes, the road will be long. Adoption will face resistance. Governments addicted to fiat will fight to preserve their privilege. But history is clear. Technology that empowers people always triumphs over systems that enslave them. The printing press broke the power of kings. The internet broke the power of media. Bitcoin is breaking the power of fiat, freedom through sound money, the path to peace. But Bitcoin is not just economics, it is philosophy. It is freedom made tangible. And in freedom lies the possibility of peace. Why do governments wage endless wars? Because fiat makes it easy. They can hide the true cost from citizens, printing money to fund destruction. The people suffer later, when inflation steals their savings. Bitcoin changes that equation. When money cannot be printed, war cannot be financed in secret. Leaders must either tax their people directly, an act that sparks resistance, or they must admit that war is too expensive to fight. In this way, Bitcoin makes peace cheaper than conflict. This is why Bitcoin advocates call it sound money. Sound money forces accountability. It forces governments to live within their means. And when governments are accountable, citizens are freer. Peace is not the result of treaties written on paper. Peace is the result of systems that make war costly and cooperation profitable. Bitcoin is that system. It transforms money from a weapon of rulers into a shield for people. Imagine a future where no government can inflate away your savings, no empire can control your trade, and no war can be waged without citizens seeing the true cost. That is the promise of Bitcoin as a global reserve. The moral dimension, ending financial exploitation. There's another layer we rarely discuss: morality. Money is not just numbers, it is trust. It is the invisible agreement that allows societies to function. And when governments manipulate money, they are not just playing with economics, they are breaking trust at the deepest level. Fiat money gives rulers the power to silently rob citizens. Inflation is nothing less than theft in slow motion. Your labor, your savings, your dreams, they are eroded without your consent, sacrificed to fund wars, bailouts, and corruption you never agreed to. Bitcoin breaks that pattern. It restores morality to money by making it honest again. No hidden printing, no secret theft, no manipulation behind closed doors. When you hold Bitcoin, you hold sovereignty. You hold value that cannot be diluted by the mistakes or ambitions of politicians. And when money becomes moral, relationships between nations can shift too. Exploitation thrives in hidden systems, but transparency, sound, incorruptible money creates fairness. And fairness is the soil in which peace can grow. A future built on sound foundations. The final reason Bitcoin as a global reserve matters is not just for us, it is for those who come after us. Fiat systems always collapse eventually. History is littered with dead currencies: the Roman denarius, the German mark, the Argentine peso, and countless others. Each collapse destroys generations of savings, ripping apart families and societies. Do we want to pass that same cycle of destruction to our children, or do we want to leave them with something stronger? Bitcoin offers the possibility of building a foundation that does not crumble. Its supply is fixed, its rules are transparent, its security grows stronger every year. By adopting Bitcoin as a reserve, nations can give future generations a system not defined by inflation and conflict, but by stability and fairness. Imagine children growing up in a world where they don't have to fear their savings melting away, where their future is not sacrificed to debts incurred by past leaders. That is the true gift of Bitcoin. Not just personal freedom, not just global peace, but a legacy, a financial system designed not to exploit, but to endure. So, is Bitcoin perfect? No. Is the road to global adoption simple? Not at all. But the question is not whether Bitcoin is flawless. The question is whether it is better than the system we have today. And when you look at history, the answer is clear. Fiat has funded wars, fueled corruption, and enslaved generations in debt. Bitcoin offers a different path, a neutral, apolitical, incorruptible form of money that belongs to all humanity. The choice before us is simple. Do we continue down the road of fiat toward inflation, inequality, and endless conflict? Or do we take the harder road, the philosophical road, the road towards sound, money, and peace? Bitcoin is more than code. It is more than investment. It is a mirror held up to our civilization, asking us one question: do we want money that divides or money that unites? If you believe peace begins with freedom, and freedom begins with sound money, then Bitcoin is not just a financial tool. It is a moral revolution. This is not just another video. This is your call to action. Subscribe, join the movement, and stay with us on this journey. Because the future will not be printed, it will be mined.